Chef, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Your presentation at PlateCraft was absolutely spectacular. I want to know everything. So let's back into the presentation. You presented a levitation concept with a platter. Can you tell us the origin of this? Like, how did the idea come to be?
So it all came back to college, and we went to the Museum of Science in Boston, and I don't know, came out of nowhere and was like, what if we had food floating? And my best friend looked at me and was like, that's weird, but cool. And I always came up with these weird ideas. Mm-hmm. So then I was on the student team and I brought it up to my coaches and they laughed at me. And it's funny to say because I sent them a picture of it and I was like, I'm actually doing it. And I'm sure he's probably tearing up. But then Scott and you were able to allow me to do this. And so I have a designer back home, phenomenal. I told her about the concept and she said, let's do it. So I started buying the pieces and started putting it together and it's been phenomenal. I mean, the concept of the grand buffet, when Scott brought it up to me, I thought of Harry Potter. And Hermione and Harry and Ron walking into that dining room and things were floating and going crazy. And that's when it came back and I said, we need to do this. So
the process of coming up, I mean, dreaming it up is one thing, but then actually bringing it to life is a whole other thing. So can you break down what's happening in there to make things float?
So right now there's two magnets. It's done by electricity. So one magnet's above it and then it pushes each other off. There's another magnet around it. And if you don't get the top magnet correctly leveled with the bottom one, it'll crash. So the lights around the magnet allows it to say, hey, it is leveled, it is stable, and that's how it creates that magnetic force in between it.
And so then you've got the magnet on the bottom, the magnet on top, and then above that is what the dish would be.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thought process of the grand buffet or any buffet for any type of service is, how do we allow guests to take this off? And any sudden movements can disrupt this. So what we've done is created different plates to cover the magnets to allow that stability, but also another plate on top, a vessel where guests are able to take away from it.
Where does this idea go? You know, now you've proven that dreams can come true if you work hard enough. What's next? How does it evolve?
We're in discussion with that plate company, Fortessa, and hopefully things work out well. He assures me that we'll be speaking with the vice president. And bringing it to every chef and allowing guests to have that experience would be mind-blowing. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for you and Scott for allowing this to all happen. I mean, without this, I would still be dreaming of it, right?
Yeah. So what's the next dream?
Right now I'm going through my CMC. I went through the first assessment. I hope to take it next year, and that whole process is going well. I've always thought if I'm gonna jump and give great ideas and give these systems in place or new concepts, I have to have a great background as in foundation for cooking. And to have that level of excellence cooking, it'll give me the credibility to be able to push these products forward.
Very cool. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more about the test. I mean, that's an undertaking, but you've done a lot in your career. You know,
Thank you.
You've competed, you have worked with some of the best chefs in the country. Do you feel ready?
I do.
I feel like your whole career has been leading up to this moment.
14 years.
Yeah.
Ever since Moderato took me out to Chef ACF for Chef of the Year competition in whenever that was.
A long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he told me, hey, this is what you need to do, and I stuck to it. Someone gave me a roadmap, and I did every single item on that roadmap. And I was nervous taking the first assessment. I was practicing, going through the assessments and the weeks and the meetings, and I went there. And one of the advice that I was given by my mentor, Chef Leonardi, was just cook. You're ready for this. And I was like, Chef, I don't know. And I kind of get emotional thinking about it. And I went in there and I just cooked. I cooked and I cooked. And here's a funny story. On the second day, so it's first day is 6 hours, and then you break down the kitchen. Second day is 2 hours to get ready for service for 45 minutes. 7 courses, 6 portions each. Second day, we go running, me and my apprentice. It's a random student. First hour, we finish everything. The second hour, we get into it. I'm getting like ready for service. I'm starting to heat up things, starting to organize myself. I'm slicing my second course, which is a pheasant galantine. So it's a process of, rolling, poaching, and all of this. It takes some time. I drop the whole thing on the floor. My heart stops, flips onto the floor. I walk away from it. Look at the clock. I have an hour and 45 minutes total. I'm like at the dish pit or the hand washing sink, and I'm like, I just failed. Everything I've worked towards right now, I failed. Yeah. And I'm at the verge of like all this emotions coming up. But I didn't let anyone see it. I just pretended like I'm washing my hands and I'm contemplating on what's next. Like maybe I could just do something different. So then a chef walker comes up, he speaks to me. I start putting the pieces and getting rid of it. They come over and help me mop it up. And then I go up to him and I look at the clock and there's 45 minutes until the window. I go, get me another pheasant. He goes, excuse me, chef? I'm like, get me another pheasant. I'm redoing the whole course. And I look to my apprentice to my right and I go, I don't care what just happened. We worked so hard these last 2 days. And I get emotional about this. I get goosebumps and I go, I don't care. We're getting this done and we're gonna push. We're gonna push as hard as we can. You're gonna help me, I'm gonna help you, we're doing this. You volunteered, you've worked, we've gotten to know each other. We're gonna get this done. He brings over the pheasant and I start to finish. 12 minutes he timed me, he said.
Whoa.
To get into the oven.
Wow.
And we were running. And he was like, what you did was incredible. Everyone congratulated me.
Yeah.
I passed that first assessment. I get to go to my next assessment in March. But But isn't that the definition of it? That's the food? Sure. But the fact that you were able to rally after such a disastrous error. Yep.
That's what proves you are who you are.
And it was great training, great mentorship, great coaching. I thank so many people because I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be here without them. They've all helped me throughout the way, and I always look back at those moments and I go, this person helped me with this. This person gave me that talk I needed. Scott made me smile when I needed it the most. It's those individuals that have really, really pushed me to be at that moment and to say, hey, I could do this.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible.
Well, we're rooting for you, Chef.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your big ideas with us, and we look forward to watching what comes next.